Hey guys, it's Steve from CollectorMania. We are moving on in our 32 series. We are on to our last one, thank God. If you can't tell, my voice is pretty much shot at this point. So we are on to Naya-Blue, and my lovely producer has kind of messed up our order here a little bit, so we're not going in CMC order, we're going in alphabetical, which I hate, I'll be honest. But that's okay, we'll get through it. We'll venture through together. So this is Kynaios and Tiro of Meletis. Like I've talked about this a million times. Their names are hard to say, so that's the pronunciation that I've got right now. So they are 2/8, so huge butt there. He's a human soldier. At the beginning, well, they are a human soldier. At the beginning of your end step, draw a card. Each player may put a land card from his or her hand onto the battlefield, then each opponent who didn't draws a card. So, of course, there are a multitude of builds with this where it's like land matters deck, which is really cool. I love that build. My friend Brian has a really awesome one. My friend Kylie has another really awesome one, so it's definitely very popular. So I really didn't want to parrot that and just build it the same way again. So I decided to go a little bit different and do 4-color Theros Enchantress, which I think is actually a lot of fun, and I think they may have even thought about that when they were designing this card. So you'll definitely see this is kind of like a, I wouldn't say quite Voltron, but it's definitely like just enchantment matters, just try and get something out there and enchant it, or get your world of enchantments really working well. With that, we will start with our creatures, and as you'll see, and this is actually really important, there are a lot of those Theros enchantment creatures, because there's just so many things that trigger off enchantments into the battlefield here. So we'll start off with Agus of the Gods. This is one of those enchantment creatures, so he's a human soldier, 2/1. It essentially gives you hexproof, so that's really cool actually. There's a lot of things that people don't even think about that you would need hexproof from, like they can't make you discard, they can't blah blah blah, anything that says target player, like stuff like that. So Agus of the Gods, really cool card, especially in like control builds, stuff like that. Lots of fun here. Then we've got another enchantment creature in Archetype of Courage. This guy is actually a lot of fun. He gives your entire team first strike, and then everybody else loses first strike. So any of these archetypes are actually really good, and it's funny, but I cannot find the blue one to save my life. But I mean, it kind of makes sense. It's really, really good. The green one is also super effective. So if you're building enchantments, grab these guys because they're just amazing. Then we've got another one, Boon Satyr. This is a fun combat trick. I've finished so many people off with this card, especially I used to have a 1v1 Sigarda list, and that's where that's why I have a foil. Just really fun to flash it in, give something +4/+2, and then just nail somebody for a lot of damage. So really, really cool. Love the artwork. Love everything about this card, actually. Just instant speed enchantment creature. Wacky. The world we live in. Then we've got Bruna, Light of Alabaster. This is probably a lot of people's first choice when they go towards like a enchantment Voltron commander. I really like her in the deck. It's kind of funny because I actually have 2/3 of the trifecta of angels from Innistrad in here, which is, I thought about that last night when I was doing the list. But Flying Vigilance, whenever Bruna, Light of Alabaster attacks or blocks, you may attach to it any number of auras on the battlefield, and you may put onto the battlefield attached to it any number of aura cards that could enchant it from your graveyard and or hand. So I used to shortcutting that and just doing it that I forgot how it was read out. So yeah, this is a great late game card that if you've been blown out a few times, you just play it, swing with it, grab everything, or yeah, super cool card. Love it. Love the artwork. I'm kind of sad that she turned into this hideous thing, but I digress. We've got a Dowsing Shaman. This guy is, of course, mainly here for his recursion ability. So you pay 3, tap it, return target enchantment from your graveyard to your hand. So enchantments do have that fault of it's not equipment, so if the creature dies, it falls off, goes to the graveyard as well. So you can always get kind of blown out that way. So having a few effects like this set can kind of help you just kind of rebuild are essential. And I think it's just an underplayed card. I don't ever see him anywhere. I mean, I was, once again, when I was building this deck, I just looked at like things that recur, and I was like, wow, that guy does exactly what I want him to do. Plus he's a Centaur Shaman. There you go. There's a tribe to do. Then we've got another enchantment creature. This is I guess, the perfection of like the Mesa Enchantress / all those builds. It's Eidolon of Blossoms. This card is an enchantment itself, so I mean it just gets that much better. So you draw when it comes in. It's so cool. The artwork is amazing. It's a spirit, so it's basically one of my favorite creature types ever. So really cool card for Theros. Yeah, makes sense. And then we've got a Geist Saint Draft. If you haven't seen yet, we do have a spoof video about him getting banned in 1v1, so check that out if you get a chance. But he is one of our, I guess, key players in just throwing a whole bunch of enchantments on and then just swinging at people, because he generates a lot of advantage on his own just by bringing a 4/4 angel in when he swings. There's a million different things that I could add into this deck that could just make him a monster. So the crucial part here is he has hexproof, which is what we want, because then people can't just like spot remove him at their whim, you know, after you put a whole bunch of really big enchantments on him. So, or auras, I mean. After that, we've got a Herald of the Pantheon. Lots of fun. Enchantment spells you cast cost 1 colorless less, so cost reduction is always great. And then another key part is whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you gain 1 life. And obviously the deck is mainly enchantments, so you're usually generating a lot of life off this guy. Centaur Shaman again. Maybe Centaur should be like an enchantment tribe. That would be kind of cool. Wizards, if you're listening. Okay, and then our, I guess, sub-theme of the deck is actually the gods. We have quite a few of them in here. I think we have a total of 5, either 4 or 5. I didn't want to highlight them all just because we'd be here forever talking about each and every one of them, but Kynaios, there we go. Ugh. God of Storms. This guy's absolutely bonkers. He has card advantage nailed onto him. He also just, I mean, he's a 6/5. Usually you're getting all of your gods functional because you usually have all your gods in play, so they're actually keeping each other awake, essentially. So now you've got an indestructible army. So this is kind of like the, I wouldn't say the backup plan, but the alternative route to win, especially if you start enchanting these guys, and that just starts getting crazy because, you know, super hard to remove. Usually if, once again, they're being activated by themselves, then it's hard to get them unactivated, you know. Really cool cards. I think if I get a chance to rebuild this deck, I'll add like Xenagos and stuff like that just to, you know, buff it up even more. So then we've got the kind of old school kind of draw and Mesa Enchantress. There's like 3 or 4 of these at this point. This is the one I prefer, 0/2, just very basic, cost 3. The deck is very heavy white and green, so either one of the two are really good to cast. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, you may draw a card. Very basic, cut and dry, easy. What's exactly what you want. Ooh, then we got one of Eric's favorite cards, Perplexing Chimera. Yeah, this card is a house. It's always a blast to play it, especially if you have that combo with like either Rune or Homeward Path. It just gets even better. The fact that this thing is just this weird, like, double-sided creature thing that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but is just awesome.
I never looked at the art.
Yeah,
that's really crazy.
Yeah, it's like Cat Dog, you know, that old Nickelodeon cartoon.
Claws.
Yeah, it's so bizarre, but yeah, awesome card. Great in like a lot of control decks. I mean, especially if you're running once again that combo where you could just get it back. This shuts down games really, really quick. So. Flexing Chimera. Okay, and then we've got another one of our key, like, stack the enchantments on somebody and then just swing, and that's Rafika the Mini. You're not necessarily after him swinging, you're after Geist Saint Draft swinging with this ability, you know, with the Exalted on him. So that's where that is. There's a few of them in here, like Ojutai stuff. Well, I think I actually took Ojutai out. I need to get another Ojutai for this deck. Anyway, Rafika the Mini. Really cool, giving double strike. There's a few things that really combo well with this, and we'll get into them here in a second. Another one of our key players as far as dumping auras on, Sigarda, Host of Herons, has hexproof. This card is probably my favorite out of the 3 angels, probably my favorite angel out of all the angels, to be honest. It, once again, was my flagship 1v1 commander for a very long time until I got to Geist. It is a 5-cost, 5/5, flying hexproof. Spells and abilities your opponents control can't cause you to sacrifice permanents. So she's got quite a hefty line of text on there. You just start throwing like enchantments that give her like +4/+4, and yeah, your opponents just start squirming because it's just like, oh god, that's a really big giant demon angel essentially at that point. Okay, and then we've got Sovereigns of Lost Solara. Of course, we're playing a lot of auras, so why wouldn't we be playing this card? It will. I don't have the Eldrazi one in here. I opted out of that just because I'm a good person, I think, most of the time. But once again, Exalted, so you're getting your creature buffed, you're getting the aura that you really want to put on there. There's a few of them in here that are key, so really cool card. Love it. His spirit as well, so yeah. Then we've got a Through the Last Roll. So just another creature that, I mean, it's worded so weird, but it's like, Thrune can't be the target of spells or abilities your opponents control. So it's not exactly hexproof, it's not Shroud, obviously, so it's a little bit different. So yeah, just cool card. It can be regenerated, can't be countered, so it basically does everything you want it to do. It's a control, like, I don't know, control piece that just gets around control, if that makes any sense. Plus, I altered the artwork, and I want to show you it. It's just so pretty. I love this card. I ended up doing it for my wife just because she had a 1v1 control, or 1v1 Thrune deck, and she played it for quite a bit, and we eventually ended up tearing it apart, but here we are now on this deck, so it's found a new home. Okay, sorry. Past that, we've got Ural the Miststalker. This is, of course, one of the key aura machines. You just throw a bunch of auras on it, give it a huge buff, and then attack with it. There's a bunch of auras in here that get flying and blah 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 and blah blah blah. So Ural, really cool card. Like it in this build a lot. Okay, so on from that, I broke up the auras and enchantments just because it felt right. There's so many auras and enchantments in this deck that I wanted you guys to get a chance to see all of them. First up in our auras, we've got Ancestral Mask. Getting back to this is an Enchantments Matters deck. Like, I've seen this card give something +20/+20 easy. You know, you slap that on your guy's Saint Draft and give it some sort of evasion, and then you're just probably killing somebody. I've killed so many people in one turn with this deck, it's not even funny. So, Ancestral Mask, it's one of the key ones. Then we've got kind of a utility card in Arcanum Wings. This is a really fun card too. Like, it's got Aura Swap. This is the only place ever that I've ever seen this ability, so it makes sense. Future Sight card. Essentially, you pay 3, exchange this aura with an aura card in your hand. So you just swap the aura. So say that you're threatening somebody, and then you have your Ancestral Mask in your hand, and then you go to combat, and then you just activate this ability, and then just switch that around, and then just kill them out of nowhere. Like, that's pretty cool. I did add a Umbra in here, of course, Hyena Umbra. It's the cheapest one, and probably, I think, the only one in here right now. The big thing here is the totem armor, so if somebody goes to board wipe and you just want to keep your guy's Saint Draft or whatever, just make sure to throw this on there, your Sigarda, whatever, it doesn't matter what it is. Totem armor dies and then the creature stays there. The +1/+1 in first strike isn't bad either, so there's a lot of things in here that can definitely benefit from that. So just a nice cheap tool, I guess. Then I've got Shield of the Oversoul. This card is absolutely ridiculous. Gives indestructible and flying, so once again, you talk about, I've put this on Kynaios and Tiro a million times just to keep them alive. But mainly I usually throw this on like Ural, because then all of a sudden Ural is just ridiculous. Yeah, so Shield the Oversoul. I really need to get the blue-white one and throw it in here as well, because I think that would be nice. Okay, Vow of Duty. This is not only a way to buff your creatures, but a way to stop your opponents from attacking you. I've definitely used this card politically many, many times. You just throw it on their best attacker, and then all of a sudden they can't deal combat damage to you or planeswalkers you control, but then they just swing at somebody else. So, really cool. Lots of fun. The main thing in here is the Vigilance. I really like that as well. Just giving, like, once again, one of your huge attackers, because usually they're like 20/20s, so you want them back for defense and offense. So, really fun card. And our last aura that I wanted to spotlight here is Wheel of Sun and Moon. This is a hoser to any graveyard deck. You just throw this at them and just be like, eh. And it still counts for you, and that's the key part, because it is your aura. It's like an Oblivion Ring. You just throw it out there, it still counts for everything you have. Most people completely ignore it at that point because of that, so like say they're trying to get you down on enchantments, they don't see this, and then you can just do whatever you want, really. So, Wheel of Sun and Moon, I've definitely used it on myself as well, so there's that. Okay, so from our auras, we're going to go into our enchantments. So a key one here is Opalescence. This is a way to turn all of your enchantments into creatures. There are a few cards that do this. I think this is probably the most effective one. So it reads, each other global enchantment is a creature with power and toughness, each equal to its converted mana cost. It's still an enchantment. The key thing here is it doesn't hit your auras, which is actually really good for you because you don't want your auras to start falling off your creatures, so keep that in mind. There are a few really big ones like Zendikar Resurgent that this just, yeah, makes a monster out of, stuff like that. So Opalescence, artwork is totally wacky, like it's straight out of the 70s in my opinion. It just looks like a music video. Okay, so on from that we've got Sigil of the Empty Throne. Whenever you cast an enchantment spell, put a 4/4 white angel creature token onto the battlefield, or with flying onto the battlefield. So, just a little fun trick to do. I've been trying to build around this card for a million years, and this is the most effective way to do it. So, there you go. And then we've got a Artifact Hoser. We, I think, don't run any artifacts besides Kiyora's Bident in this deck, so, and that's an artifact enchantment. So anyway, this I mainly put in here to shut down Greg because he has a SRAM Senior Artificer deck that I always play against, and I just needed to tech against him a little bit. But overall, it's just been a good include because I don't care, you know, all my stuff's enchantments anyway. So just throwing that out there, you can stop so many just bad things from happening. Like, think about it. With Mindslaver, the Mindslaver is essentially useless with this card out there. So, anyway, Stony Silence, really fun card. Love that they reprinted it. I was able to get a hold of it that way. And then we've got a little bit of a play on like double dipping here with the enchantment theme, and then what Kynaios and Tiro actually do with trade routes. This is a card that I recommend for the land build and this build essentially. So it's an enchantment, costs 2. It has pay 1, return target land you control to its owner's hand, so cool. Then you've got pay 1, discard a land card from your hand, draw a card. So it looks underwhelming when you read it, but it's actually super, super good because you can return your bounce lands to your hand, continue playing them. I've showed Kylie and Brian this. I think they both have gotten copies of this at this point. It is a key part in that deck. Here it's just really good for, like I said, the double dipping where you can start discarding lands because you have plenty of mana and stuff like that. So there is that. So past that, we will go on to our one featured instant speed spell. It is a modal spell, of course, because you know how much I love those. It's Ojutai's Command. I think this is probably my second favorite out of all of the whole cycle. Choose 2. Return target creature card with converted mana cost 2 or less from your graveyard to your hand. So there's a lot of things like Geist Saint-Draft that you can, or not Geist Saint-Draft, like the Herald of the, or which one am I thinking of? The Aegis of the Gods, stuff like that you can grab back from your graveyard, put it into play. You may gain 4 life, counter target creature spell, or draw a card. Yeah, very relevant abilities. All of them are great. So there we go. There's Ojutai's Command. Sorceries, I've got a few more of these. I've got, first up, a Bring the Light. The Converge really matters here because we are playing a 4-color deck, so usually we can grab our really, you know, bomb kind of stuff because most of the time we can just cast that, you know, whatever we want. There are a lot of ways to actually get the 5th color mana in this deck as well, so usually you can actually just cast it for all 5 and then go get whatever you want. It's, you know, 5 converted mana costs or less, you know, so on and so forth. Bring to Light, just a really fun card that probably gets underplayed in EDH just because there's not that many decks that can really utilize the effect. So, yeah, there's that. Then we've got 3 Dreams. 5 costs, sorcery speed spell. Search your library for up to 3 aura cards with different names. Reveal them and put them into your hand. So, going back to the Arcanium Wings, like this is, you grab that with this and the Ancestral Mask and whatever else you want to do, because then you can start doing that whole swap cycle and it just ends up being a lot of fun. So, cool card, definitely an enchantment matters card. Then we've got one of the coolest cards I think I've ever found for a theme like this, and that's Winds of Wrath. It's a 5-cost board wipe that says, destroy all creatures that aren't enchanted. They can't be regenerated. So just a lot of fun. I've blown so many people out with this just because it's just like, yeah, I'll board wipe, I'll keep my blah 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 and swing at you. It's just like, oh gosh, that's brutal. With that, we will get into our 2 lands. The first one up is Forbidden Orchard. This deck has a tendency to be very political most of the time, because you can actually just throw in auras and stuff like that on other people's creatures and then just kind of keep them from attacking you. So Forbidden Orchard actually works into our game plan. It's kind of a budget, I guess, land that just covers all your bases. You tap it, you give your opponent a spirit, whatever, blah, blah, blah. Works well in this deck. I don't recommend it in very many decks just because, you know, you generally don't want to be giving your opponent's creatures, but most of the time we are killing people with creatures that either A, have unblockable, or B, have flying, so you really just don't care. And I don't think you're going to die from a bunch of 1/1s anytime soon, especially with a body like a 2/8 as your commander. So there's that. And then we've got Reflecting Pool. And I guess we'll talk about Exotic Orchard here as well. Like, there's a whole bunch of these lands that say, I can produce the mana that my opponents control, or I can produce the mana that I control, so on and so forth. They're just kind of fun includes. They're very budget. I recommend picking them up, especially for decks like this. 4-color decks are hard. The mana bases are ridiculous. I mean, I put these guys into the tapped out thing, and like the prices on these decks, like compared to my other ones, are just like $100 above each and every other one, just because of the mana bases, and that's how ridiculous it can get. But with that, that is the deck, and as always, check out the tapped out list if you want to see more of this. As we're nearing the end of our 32 series, I think we have 3 decks left after this. That's pretty exciting for me and Eric, because we've been working hard on this series. If you guys have any suggestions on what we should do next as a series, let us know. We'll try and get, whatever suggestions you guys have, and we'll take a look and see what we can do. But yeah, other than that, we will see you next time, and thanks as always.